Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far, and what a day of Call of Duty. The highs and lows, everything was on display today, not just in terms of the CDL itself, but also for plenty of these teams. Many teams already eliminated now from the World Championship, just 2 remain going into the Championship Sunday, and the fashion in which some of these teams were eliminated beggars belief at times. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. Really up to the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that one. So much to discuss. What a day of COD, honestly. The good, the bad, and the ugly at times, most certainly. Firstly, wanted to mention some of the ugly stuff going on the Challenger side. We have a champion of our Challengers World Championship. Firstly, this match, Ironblood Gaming, the team that ended up winning it all, were playing AIM Esports. They're up 1-0 at this point because they replayed the Gavutu hardpoint 3 times in a row. The first time they were in the lead, someone lagged out. They played it again, and then game 2, AIM had a massive advantage, like 220 to 130. Another lag out occurs, and the referee says, no, we're just going to play it from scratch again. So apparently, it doesn't matter what the score is, it's just a replay, which, I mean, look, if it's 249 to 5, surely that's not a full replay, because, I mean, look, it would be open for manipulation, right? A player could just disconnect, unplug the PC or whatever, and just get the full reset. So they've got to think about that one, right? And the guys were not, well, happy about that at all. Even Aymeric Laporte, the Man City player that owns that team, the Spanish team, says, look, 220 to 110, COD League, come on, right? Why is that a full reset? So incredible stuff, to be honest. But, well, as it turned out, that team ended up getting eliminated, and in the grand finals, Toronto Ultra Academy, who had not lost a map, I believe, the entire tournament, played their kind of nemesis team in Exceed & Co. Classic on there as well, Brack is on there, of course. Mohawk won it last year, and he goes for the back-to-back. This is honestly incredible, the fact that Toronto NA managed to lose this one. Like, congratulations to these guys on the right-hand side, and Mohawk manages to go back-to-back in World Championship Challenger victory, so that's an incredible storyline in and of itself. But yeah, Toronto Ultra NA, after their dominance, make the grand finals, get beaten in 2 back-to-back best of 5s to lose the tourney. That was just one of the crazy storylines of the day. Let's talk about the actual main events. 6 teams go in, only 2 go through to the Championship Sunday. Game 1, Surge versus Ultra. This honestly was Pred doing Pred things again on Tuscan Hardpoint. What is it with Pred in this P1? Whenever he finds himself in this spot, he's just a walking 2-piece. It's crazy. This guy was rocking up like he would die, right? Get a 3-piece die. And then by the time he gets back to the hardpoint, once again, the observers are going on board with him, right? And who can blame him? I mean, he's hitting shots like this, taking Bance off the heady, 40 in 23 game 1. Close game for Ultra, but again, Ultra, one of these teams, just like FaZe, really. They give them a close hardpoint, they often come off on the losing end. Surge take game 1. No idea how Pred didn't find himself on the Player of the Year award, to be honest, but yeah, 40 in 23, 4k damage, 12 kill streak he had this game, 31 of those kills non-traded. Surge then quickly go up 2-0, then CleanX bounces back with a nice start here to the control. They take the map 3, but it's Surge who close it out in 4 in emphatic fashion here on the Berlin, and this would be a story that we'll see later on in the day as well on this Berlin hardpoint. Ultra at 120 to 3 in Surge's favour. Toronto do make this competitive, they bring it back to a relatively close game, but Surge close it out in the ends, and they survive in the tournament. So Toronto go out top 6, Surge move on at this point, guaranteed top 4 or further, as we shall see. The greatest European team ever, I think, in Toronto, their season is over. What do they decide to do next year? To me, this isn't good enough for this team. They want to be winning championships, they've done that in the past, they're not doing that any longer. What did the team change? I don't really know, to be honest. Scrappy's sitting there on the bench. Afro, potentially a free agent. You might be able to say to Afro, look, come and join the actual good European team that can deliver results. If they were to do that, who gets dropped, who goes, like who stays? I don't really know what they're going to do, but I would imagine this team is not going to stick it out next year. And speaking of teams that might well not stick it out, we've got to mention our next guys as well, even I thought this is kind of funny for the Tactical Academy, right? Of course, Hicksy, world champions, it didn't quite work out for him, even as Cammy says on an individual level, so disappointed in his own performance, onwards and upwards for next season, and these were the numbers, right? Bance at 1.05, Pred though at 1.36. I mean, this guy just cannot be stopped. Put him on the maps he's comfortable on, and wow, he's just delivering series in, series out. Honestly, at times, it's like Scump Advanced Warfare levels of domination from an SMG player that we haven't seen in a very long period of time. Let's talk about the next series then, Crim versus Scump, New York versus OpTic Texas, of course. What a series this should have been, and I'm guessing this did break the record in maybe COD history for the longest 3-0 victory of all time, but it was not the way that Aches predicted it to be for New York. It was actually the other way around. OpTic came out swinging this game, and I was kind of wondering, right, after they played up against Thieves and got completely destroyed, was that Thieves just being God mode, or was it OpTic just being terrible? I think it was a bit of both, to be honest, but still, it was like, okay, how good are OpTic actually against a solid team like New York, but maybe not a spectacular level team we found out in this series. Win an incredibly hotly contested game 1 here, 240 to 237 it was at this point. Scump goes big, nice couple of kills, close themselves out game 1. Game 2, a similar fashion, to be honest, one after another. Texas bringing together the rounds. They go up 2-0, and that was the dominant advantage, right? But it's not something that New York haven't experienced before, going down in this way. And I mean, yeah, this was some of the other rounds as well that were going on. Scum was making some absolute plays, to be honest, making it look easy at times. New York go down 2-0 in this series, and then we get into the situation. Now, whether Crimsix was doing this intentionally, I have a hard time believing that. But clearly there was some issue that he was dealing with. As Maven says, there was some sort of equipment issue for Crimsix that they were trying to figure out on the audio side. Usually this type of thing, okay, 5-10 minutes, that should be fine. Maybe swap out the PC if necessary, maybe another 10 minutes, who knows. The fact that this kind of issue dragged on for well over an hour, and I think it was almost 2 hours that this dragged on for, which is just absolutely absurd. I was like doing something else, and I was like, what? Like, I was keep looking over to this screen thinking, when is this game actually going to start again? And this, theoretically, some pros were saying is a classic Aches tactic. Go down 2-0, call for the timeout, right? Say, no, I've got this issue, I've really got this problem, and then they're trying to investigate, okay, why isn't it working, right? Why isn't it working properly? And Crimson is standing there like, yeah, it's still not working, mate, right? I don't really think he was doing this, right? But that was at least some of the implication, right? You go down 2-0, you try and ice the other team, right? By saying, okay, yeah, there's a tech issue, maybe making it out to be somewhat worse than it is. I don't think that was the case, but as Nameless is even saying, look, this is the ultimate ice, trying to just kill up the momentum of the OpTic team on the other side. Crim during the break, right? Breaking the wires, trying to make sure that they get the delay that they wanted. Even Crim was joking about it mid-series, right? Think they're fully iced yet, bought to reverse sweep these guys. So, I mean, yeah, I suppose we'll see if that works out for them, right? Chucking the PC out the window and this type of stuff to make sure that they can actually go on and potentially regain the momentum in the series. The funny thing was really that after all this drama, after about 2 hours of delays, as Crim actually came out to explain what was going on from and why it apparently wasn't an easy fix, which seems remarkable to me. But I mean, yeah, all the viewers that were so hyped for this series, like there were still 90k people in there just watching the blank screen because like everyone was so hyped for it, and the CDL just, you know, they blow it again, right? It's incredible how consistent this can happen after day 1 was tragic as well. OpTic, they're chilling, they're trying to wait to get back into the game, feeling confident, of course, up 2-0, and then they dominate the game 3 finally when it does begin again, right? This is honestly impressive from OpTic. This is a Gavutu control where they looked pretty shaky up against Thieves, for example. They come in here and just demolish New York, winning a crucial offense at a big time, getting a lot of saying in their favor, and it really felt like, okay, wow, OpTic are kind of back here because New York, a solid team, not an easy team to beat, but certainly a team that after this series I am well wondering what happened to this squad going forward. Scump is now 2-1 against Crim, all-time at World Championships. The last time they played, of course, was back in 2014, and that's top 6 for New York at this tourney. Only 80k for the team, and after the miracle run they made to even get to this tournament, they do not get the result they wanted. What does that mean for this team next year? Hydra is a free agent. If he wants to walk away, he can. Does Crimsix stay? Does he go elsewhere? Do they decide to keep Kismet or Porlex or whatever the situation is? They clicked for a time, but when push came to shove at the World Championship, they didn't have quite enough to take down OpTic, and of course they lost to FaZe in Game 5 earlier on this tournament as well. Crim goes on to say, look, I'm horrible, you don't need to tell me about it, felt like my aim assist was off last map, unacceptable scene to me. Worst of all, I let these guys down when it mattered the most, being down 0-2. So yeah, not Crimsix's greatest series ever, probably the worst I've ever individually played on a COD title. So Crim, I'm sure, will be back next year. This guy's not going to retire, he's going to run it back, but yes, he did draw a 0.64 in the series to go out of the tournament, right, especially after the whole icing drama. Not a good end to the World Championship for Crimsix, so I would imagine top 6 for both Ultra and New York probably indicates roster changes will be happening in the off-season. Let's talk about the next series then. Finally, we got into the winners finals. FaZe versus Thieves. FaZe win game 1, 250. Pretty decent advantage that they had at the end. I was like, okay, well, here we go. FaZe, Thieves should be a banger series. Indeed it was, but Thieves just hit new levels, honestly. When this team clicks, like, I haven't seen anything like this in quite some time. Even FaZe don't quite have the levels that Thieves seem to have in their locker at the moment. They win this game 2, tie up the series 1-1, as you might well expect, and then dominate the control again. Berlin control. You would imagine that after what happened at Major 4, FaZe were doing all the research into how to beat Thieves, especially on this map. They come in here and just get 3-0 on it again. At this point, they must have been so nervous, right? Like, everything FaZe are trying, Thieves are just going to shut it down, and then they deliver the OpTic treatment, or what they did to OpTic, they do the same thing to FaZe. This is incredibly rarely done. Imagine 100-point clubbing FaZe, like, well, 70-point clubbing FaZe effectively, here on Berlin. Octane was just sitting back and chilling, and the thing is that Drazah, man, he talks his trash, and this guy keeps backing it up. It's unbelievable. But honestly, this was the Kenny show this series, right? 30-14 or something on this final map of the series. To put FaZe in the 75-point club is just such an outrageous thing to be able to achieve. And when they did it to OpTic, I was like, wow, OpTic just awful. But it turns out Thieves just have this in their locker now. And the craziest thing about this is, right, that we talked about that unbelievable statistic that Simp had never lost a LAN series in his life on, well, on the World Championship. He went 6-22. He dropped 6 kills in this map up against against Thieves to drop down to the losers bracket. An unbelievable affair. Like, Thieves look incredibly tough to stop right now. They'll certainly be the favourites going into tomorrow's grand finals. As Kenny says, we are gods. GG's FaZe grand finals tomorrow. Even Drazah says, not my MVP, right? He's saying to Simp, look, this guy's terrible, this guy sucks, but he keeps backing up the trash talk. So wow, Thieves are at new levels. I said going into this tournament, I felt like there was the possibility here for a back-to-back, and Thieves are certainly playing like it right now. Octane's even saying, look, I didn't have to do anything that series. My teammates just carried me through. What a performance from them. And look at this, right? Cell somehow has a 1.6. Kenny's the only guy positive on Thieves, and they still win the series in what was actually a pretty comfortable manner. Best of 9 could be a different story, but what a performance from Thieves yet again to guarantee themselves top 2 at minimum this tournament. And let's talk then about the final series we're going to discuss in this video, because due to the delays, thanks to the CDL again for that one, it's rather late here in Europe, and I'd prefer just to go to bed and talk about the next series tomorrow where we can really dive into the grand finals in great detail. But Surge versus OpTic was the series to determine the team that would get through to top 3 to face FaZe dropping down from the winners bracket. OpTic Surge, what a series this was on paper. What a series it turned out to be. But Mack honestly kind of came to play on this game one. Like, I mean, this guy's impactful. If he's going even, the team should be incredibly good. That's basically what happens. But OpTic decided to chal Pred on Tusk and Hardpoint. Maybe not a good idea, but probably they didn't have too many better options here. And Pred, it's not like he dominated this map, but just he's so impactful, it's honestly kind of hard to believe. OpTic Search and Destroy, though, remains very solid. They win this one incredibly comfortably on the Bakar Search and Destroy type of the series. I thought they might do a similar thing to what Thieves did, even though it wouldn't have been as emphatic. Well, next time around, Illy gets a nice kill to close it out. This, though, was, once again, the thing is with OpTic, right? They don't just lose in a normal manner. They don't just, like, lose at a standard, you know, 3-2, whatever, we just lost to the lives. They always love to lose in the most heartbreaking way possible, where, like, it's just a what would have been a heartbreaker moment. This was the key right here for Pred. This was the moment of the series, the deciding factor, because OpTic was so close to getting an offensive round win here. Pred comes up top, like, Scump actually gets an, or Dashi gets a kill onto Sib. A 2v2 becomes a 2 versus 1. There's 2.7 seconds. So Scump doesn't need to peek anything. They know where Pred is. Scump gets the information, tags him up a little bit. Pred's on 23 HP here. So all that realistically has to be done, 2.7 seconds on the clock. Either both of them can stack it, or just leave Scump on the point. Dashi can stand over him and look for him, and you're probably going to win the round, right? 2.7 seconds left. You just have to sit on the point and make sure you don't leave it. Leave Pred to bide his time and do what you want to do. But OpTic decide to actually get aggressive and challenge this, which is entirely unnecessary. Both of them are weak here and go onto the point. Dashi, I think, must have got naded and then drops down here. He's on very low HP, as is Scump. And look at this. They line up and Pred just kills both of them immediately, right? So this was the crucial moment of the series. When they lost this, I was like, how did they let that happen? And even the comms must have been terrible as well, because look at this. This was Dashi's POV. Pred kills Scump, and then Dashi's looking down low. Like, the comms honestly didn't work out here, right? Because they surely should have known that Pred was at top plat. Dashi over peaks. Scump probably didn't need to peak either. And despite Dashi being 38 in 25, makes arguably the losing play of this map and the series, because then they go onto a Berlin hardpoint, where OpTic again, I believe they took the B team, which is kind of crazy because they did this earlier in the day as well. And taking B means that you start on the bad side of Berlin hardpoint, where the bad side is very bad on Berlin hardpoint generally. They do, however, have a massive advantage, but this honestly was kind of vintage OpTic, right? Illy gets a streak, uses it where he probably shouldn't have done. Seattle claw back into the game, and then OpTic just don't get a kill for like 45 seconds, and Seattle bring it back and win this hardpoint, right? Both of these respawns were incredibly winnable for OpTic. They probably should have won both of them, to be honest. And yeah, especially this map 4 as well is really going to bite them, because they were up like 190 to 110 at one point, and then come back to, I mean, yeah, Seattle get like 140 points to OpTic's 30 over the next few hardpoints. So yeah, OpTic, they've managed to do it again. Top 4 is probably where they deserve to be on their recent performances, right? Their placing makes sense on their recent level, but still, it's heartbreaking nonetheless. They can never just lose in a normal way. They have to lose in a way that just completely breaks the heart of all the OpTic fans. And top 4 this season, look, they will run it back next time around. Shotzzy did not have a good time today, especially as, you know, being the MVP caliber player from the majority of the season. Shotzzy's no doubt been underwhelming lately. There's no other way to look at it. He had a difficult end to the year. I think they'll be back next season. If Scump wants to stay around, that's one of the other questions. Will Scump retire? I don't personally think he will, but I'm sure that'll be a topic of discussion that we may well continue to have for the coming days and weeks. But that's going to do it for this video. What a day indeed. By the time you guys are watching this, you'll know who the grand finalists are going to be. We'll discuss that and plenty of other things, I'm sure, in tomorrow morning's video. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new as always. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.